The Great and Powerful. Oz the Great and Powerful is a Wizard of Oz prequel that came out in 2013, directed by Sam Raimi and stars James Franco, Mila Kunis, Rachel Weisz, and Michelle Williams. This is the origin story of how the Wizard of Oz from the original film became the Wizard of Oz. The plot of this film is about a con artist magician named Oscar, played by James Franco, who wants to do great things. He leaves in a hot air balloon but gets sucked in a tornado, and then he enters the magical land of Oz. He learns about a prophecy that the wizard is the one to defeat the Wicked Witch, and he pretends and convinces everyone that he's the great wizard and he's the one to stop the Wicked Witch and save Oz. Now, I love the original Wizard of Oz film. I grew up with it as a kid. I watched it many times on VHS. I remember when the trailers for this movie came out, I was very interested with this. I was interested to see a Wizard of Oz prequel of how the Wizard of Oz became the Wizard of Oz, and I was interested that Sam Raimi was directing it, known for the Evil Dead trilogy, the Spider-Man trilogy. He's a very good director. I was liking the cast, and when I saw this movie in 2013, I remember enjoying it. I liked this film when I first saw it, and I haven't seen the film in years, so I decided to rewatch it for this review, and I still enjoy it. Is it as good as the original Wizard of Oz film? Heck no. Is it an enjoyable film? Yes, it is still an enjoyable film years later, not without its flaws, which we'll get to, but I did have a good time with this movie. First, on the positives, by far, the best part about this movie are the visuals and Sam Raimi's directing along with that. The visuals and the look of Oz is just so beautiful. How colorful they are, the environments, the landscapes, the look of Oz. It is all absolutely fantastic, and Sam Raimi did a great job with the look of Oz. He did a great job with this directing. And I also liked how he used some similar story elements and styles from the original Wizard of Oz. I especially loved in the beginning of this movie, and if you've seen the original Wizard of Oz, you remember in the original Wizard of Oz how that film started in black and white, we're in Kansas, and when it gets to Oz, it is so colorful, and you get to see how beautiful Oz looks. He does a similar thing here. This film starts off in black and white in a 4:3 aspect ratio, but then when it gets to Oz, it expands to full screen. You get so colorful look of Oz, and I thought that was great. What Sam Raimi did in the beginning of this movie, similar Wizard of Oz, I like that. And I also like the story parallels that were also used in the original film. Characters story interacts with will be similar to characters she'll meet in Oz, and that's the same thing that happens in this movie. Character Oscar interacts with will be similar characters when he gets to Oz, and I really like the parallels he uses in this movie. And I thought they worked well in the story and didn't come off as forced or trying too hard to be the original film, and I thought it worked well. Another thing, I like how Sam Raimi uses his Evil Dead style directing, the jump scares or zoom-ins. I also like that he used that in this film. There are some solid performances from the cast. James Franco makes for a good lead. He definitely nails cocky, arrogant, and narcissistic well. Luckily, he was able to learn his lesson and grow as a character, and I thought he did a pretty good job in the role. Although Robert Downey Jr. was originally going to play the role of Oz, in my opinion, Downey Jr. would have nailed that role, but I'm fine with James Franco, and I thought he did a good job in this movie. Rachel Weisz is a ton of fun to watch as the villain in this film. She's just having so much fun playing the villain in this movie. Michelle Williams also does a good job as the Good Witch, and at the time this was like a change of pace for her. She used to be in serious movies, and it's interesting to see her in a light-hearted role, and she's a terrific actress, and she did a good job in this role. And there was also Zach Braff, who voices this monkey servant to James Franco. I thought he was a good comic relief character, and not once did he get annoying, and I did like him. Also, another supporting character I liked was this China girl doll that they meet in the middle of the film, and I really liked her. I especially loved her first scene in this movie. That was my favorite scene in the movie. Oz tries to fix her legs with glue, and I love that scene so much. It was so touching and heartfelt. I really liked that character. Really love that scene. And this is a pretty entertaining film throughout. There were some entertaining sequences throughout the film that did keep me engaged. I was never bored, and luckily I also liked how Sam Raimi didn't make this film style over substance. I was still enjoying the story, and not once did the visuals get in the way of the story, which I liked. Sadly, I do have some flaws with this movie. I will get to those right now. First, my biggest problem with this movie, and by far the weakest performance in this movie, Mila Kunis is so bad in this movie. Now, I like Mila Kunis as an actress. I've seen her do some good work in the past. But, oh my god, she was terrible in this movie. For the first half of this movie, she's fine. She's not really doing anything bad yet. But as the film goes on, her line delivery becomes over the top. And I couldn't take her seriously in the dramatic scenes. And when she becomes the Wicked Witch, that is where her performance becomes absolutely terrible. The makeup was pretty bad on the Wicked Witch. Again, her line delivery was so over the top, and Mila Kunis was so bad as the Wicked Witch. She was completely miscast in this movie. I did not buy her for a second as the Wicked Witch, and she was by far the weakest performance in this movie. I honestly would have preferred if Rachel Weisz would have played the Wicked Witch. She would have done a much better job than Mila Kunis, but still, Mila Kunis was so bad in this movie. And also, the effects are not perfect. There were times where the green screen is noticeable and did take me out of the movie here and there. And one particular bad effect, there is a scene where the China Girl doll grabs a wand and hides behind a tree, and there is a scene where one of the witches, like, flies over to the tree, and oh, that effect was so laughably bad. And also, this movie is very predictable, especially in the climax. I knew what was going to happen, this and that. I even knew what was going to happen back when I saw this movie in 2013. But overall, I enjoyed Oz the Great and Powerful. It is nowhere near as good as the original Wizard of Oz film, but still a solid prequel. Got great visuals, great directing by Sam Raimi, some pretty good performances from the cast. I enjoyed this prequel. And I also liked how it tied in nicely to the original Wizard of Oz film, which was good too. If you haven't seen this movie in years, and if you're considering rewatching this film, I would say give it a rewatch. It's a pretty good film, and I know the film got mixed reviews when it came out. Some people liked it, some people thought it was okay, or some people disliked or hated it. I'm on the positive side, and I did enjoy this movie, and I say it was a pretty solid prequel to the Wizard of Oz. Overall, I'm going to give Oz the Great and Powerful 3.5 stars out of 5. A pretty entertaining prequel to The Wizard of Oz. And next up on the reviews of Disney live-action remakes or reimaginings is Maleficent. And that is the next review. So what do you guys think of Oz the Great and Powerful? Do you agree? Disagree with me? Let me know below. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new here. It really means a lot. I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.